We're live 7 days a week, 365 days a year. NBA is over, just NHL winding it down, and Major League Baseball, a solid full card today of games. Good matchups, bad matchups. Got pretty much a smorgasbord of matchups as far as things go. Something for everyone. The Dogs have been biting big all week, so we'll see if that happens again today. It just seems every day. It's not like a lot of dogs each day. It seems to be one or two big ones each day. Chris, we've seen the Blue Jays get knocked off by the Orioles this week, and then last night it was the Guardians against the Dodgers taking them down to Chinatown in that one. And boy, I got hammered in the YouTube comments on my Guardians pick for that one. But of course, no one comes back and says, "Oh, you were right." That never happens. Ron will tell you that. They just act like nothing ever happened and then call you an idiot the next day when you pick, your next pick that you actually take an underdog. But Chris, what are you seeing so far here? Major League Baseball as we hit about a third of the way, more than a third of the way through the season.
Yeah, and some of the underdogs, the bigger underdogs, like you said, starting to hit a little bit more consistently. We saw yesterday that the Cubs pull off the upset, snap their losing streak, snap Atlanta's winning streak, as the Braves just couldn't get the bats going. But I think it was actually a fairly profitable day for the favorites for the most part, at least in the early section of that game, and then Cleveland kind of broke that open. But now it's just a matter of picking your spots, because there's going to be a lot to pick from. We've seen in the past few days a lot of minus 200 favorites. And maybe, you look for your run lines or even your money lines. But, it's definitely just sort of a day-by-day thing having to navigate these cards.
Al, the Yankees sitting at 48-16, projecting to about 130 wins this season. And any chance we see something that we haven't really seen before, 120 plus? If they end up at over 120 wins, they'll still not be winning at the pace that they're winning right now. That's how hot they've been.
Yeah, I mean, they're the hottest team in baseball in the last 5 years. If you recall, the Cleveland Indians went on a 42-8 run back in 2017. I mean, how
about the Dodgers in the COVID shortened season? That was another one that was
another one. But again, like right. But again, did Cleveland win the World Series? So you can be hot, but it still comes down to the entire season, getting hot in the playoffs. So who knows? But I think the Yankees certainly have a chance.
Ron,
they're playing amazing.
Ron, I know you weren't around for the Alan Trammell, Sweet Lou Whitaker Tiger team, but this team is kind of looking like that. They don't always play their best game, and it's like it just seems when their pitchers need the runs, they get the runs, and when they can't get the runs, their pitchers come up with a monster performance. It was Jack the Cat Morris who did it for the Tigers that year. I think he won 20 that year for him, but they also had an amazing. Didn't their closer win the MVP that year?
I mean, that was my grandmother's favorite team back then, and I think
the closer won the MVP that year for the Tigers. I'm pretty sure it was 84. No, it had to be 94.
No, I think it was, and I know they beat they beat a good San Diego Padres team in the World Series. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, so that had to have been like 85.
No,
I was thinking 84.
It was 84. KC won in 85.
So who was the MVP that year? Was it Willie Hernandez or something?
Yeah, Willie Hernandez.
Willie Hernandez was the MVP that year. He was the closer on that team. Romanelli, what do you think? Do you think the Yankees are just going to win every single game from now on, and you lay the run line here?
I mean, it seems like they'll never lose again, but I mean, they've scored the most runs in the American League. They've allowed the fewest runs in the American League. They've had a bunch of blowout victories. We saw it yesterday. But I think with any team, you're going to see some hot and cold streaks. We saw at the beginning of the season, the Yankees weren't the strongest to start the year. So Injuries do play a part in that. We'll have to see if the Yankees can stay away from the injury bug, which is something they haven't been able to do with guys like Stanton in years past. But right now, they're hot and they're playing good ball.
Yeah, tomorrow it's Cole versus Kikuchi in this Toronto matchup. We'll talk about
I think it's Severino, isn't it?
Oh, they moved Severino into the spot against
Well,
tomorrow?
I know he's coming off. I think if he's coming off COVID, I think if I'm correct that he's scheduled to pitch tomorrow. But again, could always be wrong. But I think I saw that announced.
All right. Well, I had Cole originally, so
yeah, I think it was going to be. It's either Cole or if Severino comes off the COVID list, he's going to pitch.
But there's a spot, where a likely stumble spot, because it's just so unlikely, right? Against Kikuchi. Brian, we're seeing, your Baltimore Orioles winning some baseball games here against good teams, teams with winning records. Is this your time? I mean, where that all that Orioles cheering pays off for you, and now they become what Brian's the guy where it's like he'll find that team that nobody will touch, and then all of a sudden they'll actually start winning games, and then now he's got to go somewhere else. And they become
I remember being told, you take the Baltimore Orioles all year. That's it.
Well, that was the last 6 seasons where they've been getting slaughtered. I mean, that's the problem.
I just think this team is a team to watch the rest of the season. They've got a good young minor leaguers. They got some good minor leaguers in the system that should be coming up soon. And their roster right now, aside from their starting pitching, they should be able to contend at least on the run line on a daily basis. So I'm definitely going to keep my eye on them.
So El Niños, the Dodgers, swept at home by the Pirates a couple weeks ago, and definitely was a sign that something is certainly amiss there. And it's called they can't score a run against anybody. And the thing is that now they face the Guardians, and we see it last night where the Guardians really just a better version of the Pirates is all they are. They're just the same team, just a better version of it, and they just simply had no answers against the Guardians either. 1 run they scored an entire 9-inning game. A lot of money to score that 1 run, and in the city where Anthony Rendon makes $35 million, he's played. I figured this out. He's played about 70 games the last 2 years. He makes about $70 million. He makes $1 million a game. It's like that's crazy. Anyways, back to the Dodgers. You think we got big problems here, or you think because they counted on Bauer to be that guy, for them, and they invested in him to be that guy. The issue isn't just the money that they put into Bauer. These guys, they have money. The Dodgers, that's really not the issue. The issue is there's not any other Bauers out there for them, to go get. Is there a Max Scherzer at the trade deadline for them? Is there, where they did like last year? He's not going to be available. But I mean, a type of pitcher like that, I'm not so sure. What are they going to do?
I don't know. Well, there was a few offenses actually yesterday that disappeared, so it's not like the Dodgers were the only team that didn't show up offensively. But you're right; they are paying a lot of money for their lineup not to be showing up like this. Their pitching, I think, has been pretty good. They don't have the big names, but these guys, Urias hasn't been getting the run support, but he's been pitching well. Gonsolin's been pitching real well. They still have Kershaw. And, I mean, they still got some good arms. Sorry, I forget. One name's slipping right now. What's that last guy they got on the roster?
Walker Buehler?
Buehler, yeah. He hasn't lived up to expectations lately. I think he's been a little disappointing. But other than that, I think they've been pitching pretty well. And you're right. The offense has to step up a little bit. I do think the Guardians are a little bit better than slightly better than the Pirates, though.
No, I said they're a better version of the Pirates. That's all they are, though. But they're not like the Guardians don't have murderers row. They certainly don't have the lineup like the Blue Jays or something.
No,
definitely not even close. It's just a really, really good manager is what they have. They just have a really good manager that knows how to win with whatever he has. He makes all the right moves.
They do have a couple players that produce a lot, though, offensively. But yeah, that's true. It's not like it's a complete lineup or anything close to that. So,
their pitching staff, I would say, is underperformed.
Right. Yeah, they're not great either.
But
yeah,
I think
you're right.
I think one of the things that I look at with this Dodgers team too, another thing is kind of Seager, right? Missing Seager. It's kind of like when Wilbur Marshall left the Bears and went to Washington. It was like Washington didn't really get any better, and he certainly wasn't any better on Washington or nearly as good or productive as he was on the Bears. But the Bears defense suffered mightily, from losing Wilbur Marshall. And it's kind of like Seager, who is batting in like 200 for Texas. And then the Dodgers sure could use Seager in that lineup. It just seems to be one of those things where he's a better fit there. He's a better fit there. They're a better fit for him. It's like he should have been a Dodger for life, this guy, right? World Series MVP guy. I mean, these are the guys you don't let go. And he
was playing real well for the Dodgers, you're right. And I think it's kind of, now seeing him on the Texas lineup kind of makes me like a little more wary of fading the Rangers this year.
But he's not doing anything there.
I know,
he's terrible.
Even though, but
he's
it's
terrible.
still a name that kind of scares me in the lineup.
I mean, we could put together a team of the guys that switch teams, and their production halved. We got the Carlos Correa. We've got him. We've got a bunch of guys in this same
for the
boat.
Dodgers. Yeah, I think the Dodgers, a lot of times when they do trade some of those, hitters, not like necessarily the biggest names, but do pretty well for them. I think actually sometimes they think they do actually better on their new teams. But right, that hasn't been the case for Seager at all. But you think of like Verdugo and stuff like that. Verdugo, I think, has been playing pretty well in Boston. And who else did they trade recently? Oh, man. Sorry, my memory's failing.
It's all
right
good.
now.
But anyways, we'll move on. We'll come back to it.
But usually they have a couple of hitters that haven't been like their best ones, and once they get traded, they do really well on the next teams, I think. But you're right. The Astros trade didn't work out that way. But yeah, I don't know. Still, again, Correa's still a good hitter, though. It's just hitting a baseball is still one of the hardest things to do in sports. So some of these offenses are going to disappear sometimes. So I think that's the tricky part there. Is it's still pretty hard to hit a baseball.
But anyways, Jovan in Boston, this is a team that does not have a starting pitcher. I mean, on the entire team. They don't have one guy that's like, this is our guy. We reel him out there, and we're going to put him up against their number one, and he's going to get it done. Instead, it's Rich Hill and Eovaldi, who's poor excuse for, there. And then you've got Pavetta. I mean, this is the all Bittler team. All they're missing is Jordan Lyles and Andrew Kashner.
God. We had Andrew Cashner.
Oh, I know they did.
Back.
I know they did. What do you think? I mean, is this the Red Sox going to make a move, or they're just content to not make the playoffs this year?
Yeah, this is the Hein Bloom Red Sox, so I doubt it. His style of, I guess, building a team is geared towards where he came from, which is Tampa Bay. But this is a big market baseball town, and let's put it this way: if he's not going to spend the money right on big bats or a high price pitcher, a flamethrower, he's not long for the job in this town. They might make the playoffs because there's enough slots to actually do it nowadays. But I mean, they're winning right now. They're a few games over 500, so they could make a push, but it's not championship level baseball ball club that we're talking about here.
The problem that the Red Sox have is they are winning games, and they are, once again, last year I thought they really exceeded expectations, and this year I think they're exceeding expectations once again. But I think that the bigger issue is that you've got the Toronto Blue Jays, the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Yankees all in your division, so it's like you've got those three teams in your division, and then, going outside of the division, obviously the West, there's nobody there that's going to possibly make it. And then in the Central, you have a few guys, a few teams that can do it. But, they're going to have to be better than that, than they are right now, in order to do anything. And then if they do make the postseason, what do they do when they get there? Because they don't even have like a 3-man rotation that can stack up against another team's playoff roster. But anyways, we move into today's card. We've got the National Hockey League, Chris. It is the Avalanche who have won 6 games in a row now after their sweep last time out against Edmonton. And, of course, winning their other series and then winning game 1 of this. So that's 6 in a row for the Avalanche. This is a team on a roll against a team that's been there, done that. We saw that team in the NBA Finals just over the last couple of weeks. Same thing. They came out, they lost game 1, and then they'd been there, done that, and all of a sudden they found something that worked against that defense, and it was like, oh boy, the floodgates opened and it was all over. But any chance the Lightning find some answers tonight? It seems to be a lot of backing for them. Here's a dog.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand it because you're getting plus money with the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions, who made a bit of a comeback in game 1 in that second period. They were down 3-1 after an uncharacteristically bad first period from Andrei Vasilevsky. But I think Vasilevsky tightens it up here. But I also think that the Avalanche don't get enough credit for how solid they are defensively. I know Darcy Kemper, not the first goalie I think of to be on that top tier. But I think he got a bit more of a defensive game. Only reason that game went over the total in game 1 was because we had to go to overtime. We were at 3-3, and obviously total set at 6. But I think this one goes back to a lower scoring game. I think it's a more defensive style, a more physical style, and I think it ends up being 3-2, whichever way you have it going. So I like the under 6 in this one.
Big Al, any thoughts here on this one?
I do, but unfortunately it's a big play for me at the Pick Dogs premium, so I've got to take a Ruffalo on it.
Romanelli, no Islanders for you in this one. Any care, or are you going to be watching replay of the Westminster Dog Show or something?
Thanks for reminding me that the Isles aren't in there. But no, I do think I agree with Ruffalo. I like the under in this game. We saw in the beginning of the first game, the Avalanche, I think they caught the Lightning sleeping, honestly. The Lightning are a pretty fast team, but they're nowhere near as fast as Colorado. So they found their pace of play, though, and I believe in the second and third period. And I really like the way the Lightning played in that third period. I think Andrei Vasilevsky also sharpened up after a rough start. So I like the under, and I lean towards the Lightning as well. I honestly thought they dominated the play in the third period. Obviously, they took the momentum into overtime, scoring the final 2 goals, but they just kind of had a little bit of a fluky goal in overtime for a deflection. But I think the Lightning win this game, and I like the under. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Brian?
For me, this one, I'm going to lean to the Colorado Avalanche on the money line. I just think they're the hot team. It is a good value with Tampa Bay, but I think they're a team that I'm going to be looked to back when they're at home. I think Colorado gets done here. I'm also going to go lean towards the over. I could see a mirror image game, 3-3 going to overtime again. So I think it's 6 for me. I think they get over the total.
El Niños.
I'm gonna have to agree with most of the guys. I think as Ron said, it was a terrible start for the Lightning, but I don't think the Avalanche get off to that quick a start again. So it's hard to go again, take the under against the Avalanche a lot of times, but I think in this type of game, getting 6 goals, I like the under here. I think it's going to be more of a defensive battle than we saw in game 1.
All right, Jovan, like myself, if no NHL for me, I'm just going to go by the betting tools to say Avalanche, and Avalanche by 1 goal is what it says. It says take the Lightning on the puck line, take the Avalanche to win. Anyways, go to Major League Baseball. We'll knock them out 4 at a time in this one. We got the Cubs and the Braves. We've got the Blue Jays and the Yankees. We got the Pirates and the Giants. Looks like a pitching change here for the Pirates to Jose Quintana. I didn't have him originally listed. And then we've got the Orioles and the Rays. Let me just double check on that Quintana. Yeah, it is Quintana. So, Jovan, we'll start with you since we didn't get to talk hockey.
All right, so look at this Braves and Cubs game. I like the under in this one. Wind's blowing in, I believe, from left field at about a projected 17-mile-an-hour clip. You have 2 pitchers that have been pitching well. And yeah, I like the under in this one, and I would lean Atlanta first 5. But that's a lean at best. Justin Steele, he has been pitching well, so I could see that being a tie ball game at the end of 5. So you know, um, anything or no, nothing else.
El Ninos.
Yeah, I think we could see an over in the Braves Cubs game. I like the under in the Yankees Blue Jays. Tough to pick a side here, but I think if the Blue Jays were to steal, or well, I guess they're favored here, so there's no stealing involved. But if they were to win this series, I think this would be it. But I'm staying off the side. I like the under here, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the Jays can't win with Manoah on the mound here against the Yankees, they might as well just cash it in. I think he's about 138-0 against the Yankees in his career. His first outing of his entire career was against the Yankees, and he mowed them down. So it was at Yankee Stadium. So I don't think he's ever lost to the Yankees, or that it's even been a ball game. Bryant?
Yeah, I think in this segment of games, I think the Toronto Blue Jays are the best bet. Very close to a premium play for me. I just don't see how Manoah and the Blue Jays at home in front of their fans don't get this circle game. Yesterday, I got destroyed taking the Blue Jays, but I'm back on them. I'll take the Cubs plus 1.5. Justin Steele, 2 straight 7-inning strong starts. I think it's a one-run game either way. I'll take the Cubbies plus the 1.5, and I'll stick with my Baltimore Orioles, but I don't know if they get the job done outright today. I'll lay the juice, take the plus 1.5. I'm not a big Kyle Bradish guy. Bradish, however you pronounce his name.
But you could be. If he can balloon that ERA up into about that 9.85 range, I'm sure you'd be all over him. If we get
into the 12 range, maybe I would.
Yeah, I mean, his ERA is just a little too low for you to really buy into the Bradish thing. Ron, I know that I said Manoah never loses to the Yankees, but the Blue Jays did lose a game that he started, but he only gave up 1 run in that thing, mowing down the Yankees exactly like he's always done 7 Ks in that thing. But what do you think of these games before you correct me?
No, he's been pitching really well against the Yankees in his early career, but in that Braves-Cubs game, I really agree with Jovan in that one. I love the under in that game. May have been a premium if the weather kind of was announced for the Wrigley Field totals are always announced in the morning, so it's kind of tough to play those games. But, Justin Steele, although he's a lefty, the Braves do hit lefties very well. Like Jovan mentioned, the wind's going to be blowing in 16 miles per hour from left field, and that's going to really affect the right-handed hitters for the Braves, and they have a ton of power guys, Acuna, Riley, and Swanson, and Ozuna. So I think it's going to really affect their bats. I could see a similar score to yesterday's game, but I think the Braves win it in the end, but maybe a 1-0, 2-1 final score. So I love the under in that game, and that's really the only game I like in that window.
How do the Seagulls at Wrigley Field know that the game is almost over? It seems that they show up right after Take Me Out to the ball game. Around the end of the 7th inning, they start circling around, and they seem to exactly know when these games are over. Day game, night game, it really doesn't matter. The Seagulls show up usually around the 8th inning, end of the 7th. It's an amazing thing. I've actually seen one pick up a full slice of pizza and drop it onto the field. Al, what do you think of these games?
I think I'm going to part ways with Jovan. I don't like going against Jovan. I don't like going against Ron. But, the line, it opened at 8. It's down to 7 at DraftKings. It's 7.5 elsewhere, but if you're playing at DraftKings, you can find a 7. And I think there's now, relative value on the over in the Atlanta Cubs game. The Braves 15-7 over versus lefties. Cubs 35-21 over as a home dog. I don't like the side in this game. It's just, the Cubs won yesterday, but they're still 1-10 their last 11. Atlanta's still 14-1 their last 15. I can't find a reason to take the Cubs, and I certainly don't want to lay that price. So, I would look at the over as especially if you can find 7 runs at DraftKings. The Pittsburgh game, again, the Pirates ever since their West Coast trip, they came home, they played, decent against Arizona as well. But then now they're on a 1-10 run. Their last 11, they're looking like the Pirates again. All the angles favor San Francisco in this game. But again, I don't want to lay $1.80 on the road with Alex Wood. So I would probably, again, for this game, I would probably want to look at the over here just because Quintana, he's not been pitching well his last 3 starts. I'd probably want to take the over 8.5. And then with Tampa, Baltimore, same story for me. Tampa's all the stats favor Tampa, but both teams fall into some good over stats as well. Tampa 31-16 over as a road favorite, and Baltimore 14-3 with a push over its last 18. So that's another game I'd probably look to be high scoring.
Chris, every stadium in the majors has like this frozen dessert style thing, whether it be like a frozen malt or a frozen lemonade. They come with this flat wooden spoon, and the thing's always like as hard as a rock. Like exactly like what's going on with the flat wooden spoon, and would you ever use that as a regular utensil? Like what is it with the flat wooden spoon? I mean, they've been using these things forever, so obviously they work. But it seems that this thing's always frozen. Like, how does something become that frozen, rock solid? I mean, it's just it's amazing, right? Those things, it's just like a block of ice when you get them.
You have to understand, for me, a lot of things that are far more out of left field than a wooden spoon have been used as a utensil. So the wooden spoon, not offside for me at this point.
It's kind of like a little paddle, right? It's kind of like, what is this thing?
Look, if it works for popsicles, it can work for anything else. I think. I don't know, but
how do these things are so frozen? I mean, it's always like a brick, right? When you get it, it's like, what is up with this thing?
They shape it like a chisel, so you can kind of pick away at whatever you're eating. But I've used that at many Blue Jays games. But speaking of the Blue Jays games, I'm gonna go with the first 5 under between the Yankees and Jays. The last time that Tyone and Manoah locked up, it was 1-1 before going into the 7th inning, before the Blue Jays bullpen once again folded like a cheap lawn chair. And I think we could have another pitcher's duel here. So give me the first 5 under between the Jays and the Yankees. And I'm going to go back to the Tampa Bay Rays. Kyle Bradish, like I said, his ERA just not high enough for me to jump on him here. And Jeffrey Springs, not a household name by any means in that Rays rotation, but he's got some solid stuff. And I think the Rays find a way to bounce back in this one.
The only thing harder than those frozen malted at Wrigley Field is the pretzel, the soft pretzel. Man, that thing is like a brick. I always get the Ryne Sandberg 1984 postseason edition. It's like left over from the 84 season, and those things are just like, I don't and somehow they charge more and more for them every single year. And the thing is, they're wet, right? It's like, what are they? Why is pretzel's wet? It's got like this salt. It's like, what's going on with this thing? Would you like mustard with that? It's like, I'd like a chainsaw. It's like just to get the thing in pieces.
I'm totally gonna get you a framed pretzel, like an artifact.
Oh my God! It's the Ryne Sandberg 1984 Wrigley Field edition. They have available at the snack bar. Anyways, I think that today at Wrigley, it's like, when the wind is swirling like that or whatever, it doesn't stop the Cubs from making errors inside the ballpark. I'm with Big Al here. I think there's going to be a lot of runs in that thing. I think the Braves are just the better team, and I think they're going to continue to roll forward. They're not going to win them all, and it's a 14-game winning streak and not getting any runs yesterday and all that stuff. It's going to happen. I know that Ron's fans, think that the Braves and Dodgers, never lose, or the favorite never loses in general, but they do. And that's why they play the games. And that's why even the very best teams in baseball lose 60 times a year, except for the Yankees, who might not. But I think the Yankees are up against it today with the Jays and Manoah. I think that Italian is definitely outpitched the back of his baseball card, but I don't think he's good enough here. I think it's just a bad spot for him. I think Jose Quintana against Alex Wood, this is going to be a very boring game if you like offense. I think it's going to be a low-scoring one in Pittsburgh. And then I think the Rays have some injuries, and that's why they're struggling. And they just don't have the depth. But it is Kyle Bradish. He's a future Bitler Hall of Famer. Chris, what are you selling today?
I'm going to pay for admission to see that Hall of Fame, see who all is in there. But for me,
well, Dylan Bundy was there. He's pitched himself out. He had the hot start, so he pitched himself out of the Hall of Fame, but he's working his way back in.
the artifacts are still there. They're just in a storage room until further notice. But
Jordan Lyles is the starter. Him and Vince are the 1 and 2 in that rotation. It's like,
we gotta go with what we think Brian's all-time starting rotation is on the morning.
Vince Velasquez is the number 2 starter. Jordan Lyles is 1.
Yeah, we'll have to throw Bundy and a couple other guys in there. We'll figure it out.
Zach Wheeler is one of his guys.
Andrew Heaney.
Andrew Kashner.
There's nothing wrong with Wheeler. I mean, the guy's putting up Cy Young numbers again.
see what happens? It's all fun and games until you mention a Philly, and then it all goes to hell after that.
Well, it's Wheeler in particular.
Well, for me today, I got my $15 pickoff play. The sheets have been changed after Lucas Giolito and the White Sox bullpen pooped the bed yesterday, but I got that play that I really like as well. It's part of my Saturday Slam MLB 3-pack for $39.95 over at Big Dogs Premium.
Big Al, you said you had the NHL. What else you got cooking today?
I've got baseball as well, including an MLB division game of the year. Passing in the USFL today just because it's the end of the season. I'd rather just wait for the playoffs than, risk money in meaningless regular season games. All the playoff spots have been decided there. So just baseball and hockey for me today. Some big stuff.
Ron, running down the books here.
Yeah, we're running down the books with my $15 MLB best bet today. A couple of losing days in a row, but we're looking to bounce back. We've been really good with those plays since the start of the season. And then overall, I got a 3-pack in the MLB. You get my rundown play, barking dog, and moneyline slammer in a 3-pack.
You have like this cult-like following on YouTube. It's like it's just growing. It's like an army of people.
Yeah.
Any nickname for for Ron's army?
I don't know. I gotta think of one.
Romanelli's Romans, something like that. No.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a good one. I'm sure it will offend somebody that way. That's good.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch what you think. But, I gotta think of something catchy.
All right, we'll work on it. If anyone has any suggestions, let us know. Brian.
Also, the Sicilians come out of the woodwork and start complaining. Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, for me, I got my Get Out the Broom 3-pack. Absolutely love these matchups this weekend. These baseball matchups. I think there's money to be made. Get my Get Out the Broom 3-pack for $50, or my Major League Baseball titanium play. That's my best bet overall. Price to fit any budget, so make sure you check it out. Also, the YouTube premium VIP shows, best deal in handicapping. Check it out.
Al Ninos.
3-pack in the MLB, and then a 3-pack with my 2 best bets in baseball, and then my best bet in the hockey game tonight. And a couple extra plays for one of the long-term passes.
Do you watch Ron's Rundown? You a fan?
You know what? I've watched it a couple times, and I think he does a very good job at breaking the games down. Jovan, how about you? What do you got today?
I got my Saturday Shootout MLB Laser Show, $19.99. I also got a couple other single plays. And also have a 5-pack, like the plays.
Ron's Rundowners. It's actually not bad. It actually kind of works. I got my $15 big play. I lost yesterday, but I'm running at a 70% clip. Also have hit exactly 7 of my last 10 on those too. So kind of exactly right where you want to be. I had the Twins last night, and they got out. They did me dirty. They hit the home run to start the game first. Second pitch of the game, they hit a home run and then lose. That's just one of the worst feelings you could have, because it's like they hit the home run and you think, oh man, this is exactly where we want to be. They got first and second and nobody out. We're gonna run it up on them, and then it's like, you get up and you come back. It's 2-1 D-backs, and they're still batting in the bottom of the first. Anyways, we get them again today. I haven't had back-to-back losses on that big play in quite some time. So, anyways, we roll back onto the games. We've got the A's taking on the Royals. They're charging full price admission for that one in Oakland. We've got I wonder what the get-in price on that one is, Chris. got the Tigers and the Rangers, the Reds and the Brewers, and the Mariners and the Angels. Jovan, what do you think of these four?
Yeah, I'm fading Brad Keller. 1-8 this season. Last three, 7.90 ERA. He's just been getting tagged. So, don't really like Oakland all that much, but I mean, as far as just as a team, but today I like him. Cole Irvin's on the mound. He's been pitching well, so I'll roll with Oakland. I'm on the Rangers and Tigers over. Yeah, Detroit, they can't hit their way up a wet paper bag, but they could actually give up, all of those runs. They could give up the 8.5 by themselves as a pitching staff. So, I expect them to contribute at least a couple of runs in that. So, yeah, so I'm on the over in that one. And I'll lean towards Chris Flexen and his 4 starts against the Angels. Seattle's won all of them, and he's pitched quite well against them. So I'll roll with Seattle on that one.
As bad as the Royals' 10-20 road record is, it's nothing compared to that 7-25 home record of the A's. This is a bad game. I mean, this is a really lousy game. Al Niños?
Yeah, got to go with the A's and the pitching edge there, despite how bad they've been playing. I can very well get behind that over in the Rangers Tigers game. Great game for Seager to get it going, maybe. Maybe a slight lean to the Reds. I think Ashcraft is the better starter there. But I'll probably take them in the first 5 if I were to take the Reds. And I think the Angels get out their funk, too, with this pitching matchup.
Brian, you've been on both sides of this Angels-Mariners matchup. What do you think of these games?
Boy, the losing side. But I'm going to agree with Jovan and Al Niños here. I'm going to lean here towards the Oakland A's at one of my guys.
I thought you were going to say Dodgers -1.
No, I'm going to take the Oakland A's here. Cole Irvin, I think he's had trouble going more than 5 1/3 last 2 starts, but I think he's a 7-inning guy against that Royals offense. Oakland A's get a rare home win. And I'll take the Texas Rangers here, laying moderate juice, or Tigers, one of the worst offensive teams in baseball. I think even Taylor Hearn might be able to shut them down. So I'll take the Rangers money line there.
Ron Romanelli.
Yeah, we got some real beauties in this time slot. That Royals Athletics game, I mean, there's going to be 6 people there. They'll probably charge them $3 a piece. So about $20 they'll make profit on that one. But I can't touch that game. I mentioned on the show, both starters are guys I don't back very often, but I don't really like either of these offenses either. So just a rough game there. I think the Reds I lean towards the Reds in that game. I just think Jason Alexander giving up 7 base hits a game, walking guys as well. That 1.74 whip is going to come back to bite him. He only has 6 strikeouts in 16 2/3 innings. So I like the Reds there. I like the Angels in game 1 of that doubleheader. I think Patrick Sandoval's really taken the next step in his game as a starter, 2.83 ERA, 54 Ks in 54 innings. So limiting home runs. The walks have been a little bit of an issue, but striking out batters at a good rate. And Chris Flexen, I faded very, very often. I think he has even more room to regress from that 4.3 ERA. So I lean towards the Angels there.
I'm seeing the get-in price at around $8 on that Royals A's game. If anyone's interested in going, there's still plenty of good seats available. I mean, you're right in basically the front row in left field for $8. And let's see what behind the plate.
I need to be behind home plate. I need to be.
I'm seeing $15 for the cheapest.
Wow.
I would go to that game if I was in the area. I like crappy baseball.
Look, this is what you do. You buy the $15 seat, and there's going to be more than enough open that you can just walk down and sit. They're not going to stop it.
I don't like that.
Section 321, Ruffalo, $8.
Damn.
$8.
They're at a point now where even the security guards are sitting and watching the game. They don't have anybody to stop, so they're just.
When I lived in Boston, this is how old I am. It was $2 to get into the bleachers. And then they raised it to $3.
Used to go. What was it when you went to see Babe Ruth play it?
It was $3. They raised it. after the '86 season, they raised it to $3.
Just like you think that '85 Cubs pretzel's bad. Wait till you see the one.
Oh, the Fenway Frank. I've had plenty of those thrown at me. It's like they have the odd bun in Boston where it's not really a bun. It's kind of like two slices of bread that they like kind of glued together at the bottom. There's no like outer crust.
I love the Boston bun. I like it.
There's no crust on the bun. It's kind of just like they cut the outside of the bun off. They use the same bun on the lobster roll, except they soak it in butter.
Yep.
Which
Those
is
are the best.
So if Brian, if you want to sit near home plate, you can get 12th row near like behind home plate, but it's $78 a piece.
That's too far back. I need to be closer.
God help me. Okay, give me a second.
Are you up here, Chris, on the games?
Yeah. I'll look for a seat after. I'm gonna go with the under 8 between the Royals and A's. I think this is just one of those spots where the offense is so bad that it makes the pitching matchup look a lot better than it actually is. That lipstick on a pig, if you will. And I'm gonna go with the Texas Rangers on the money line against the Detroit Tigers, who keep finding new and creative ways to lose baseball games. So give me the Texas Rangers there off of Ronnie Garcia. And I'm going to go with the Angels in game 1 of the doubleheader. For me, Patrick Sandoval, just the better starter here. He's been better on the road than at home this season. And Chris Flexen, just a guy that can't catch a break either. So give me the Angels in game 1 of the doubleheader.
I mean, the A's have historically had some of the all-time great teams, and it's kind of sad to see. But I don't know if they kind of do the Cleveland Browns thing and preserve the A's, for later, if in case the team ever comes back to Oakland, or if they carry the green and yellow over to Vegas with them when they move. The deal is done. I've already done it in my mind. But I like whoever's playing against the A's these days in Oakland, and so I'm going to go with the Royals here and Brad Keller. I also think that, the over in Cincinnati is definitely in play with Graham Ashcraft and Jason Alexander going. And I like the Mariners with Flexen against Sandoval. The Angels are just absolutely hideous on the road this season. So I'm going to take Seattle. And not this season, but in the last month. So, of course, Anthony Rendon gone for the season. Unbelievable, man. It's like these guys should have to give the money back. They should have to give the money back. So if you're not gonna, I don't know. It's hard to say because the injury, right, and all that stuff. Anyways, Johnny Cueto, first ballot Hall of Famer, faces off against Justin Verlander as the Astros host the White Sox. You've got the Mets against the Marlins. Braxton Garrett, who Brian badmouthed big time last time out. He took it personally. He might have been watching the show. Because maybe that's why he was mumbling Bittler every time he was blowing that heater by the opposition. Josiah Gray in a day game. You have to remember the Josiah day game stats, right? Sub-1 ERA in day games, 8+ in night games. So Josiah Gray, he's night and day. And then you've got Cutter Crawford, the Red Sox digging deep into the all-time name list there, up against Dakota Hudson. Chris? Cutter Crawford, Dakota Hudson. How's that for some baseball names?
I was going to say it's not going to be Welcome Back Cutter, but it's going to be. I think they're going to have to. I think the Cardinals are going to welcome him here with a bit of a rough outing. I think Dakota Hudson coming off of a really bad start, and I think the St. Louis Cardinals find a way to get the job done. This is not a good lineup for a guy like Cutter Crawford to have to deal with in just your second start. And I think the Cardinals get one back against the Red Sox here. I'm gonna go with the Houston Cardinals minus just the Houston Astros. I'm so excited to bet these two games. I'm going with the Houston Astros minus 2.5 based on spite alone after the way the White Sox did me dirty yesterday with Giolito in the bullpen, and I think Verlander shuts him down here. And Johnny Cueto, I think he's gonna battle, but I just see the Astros pulling away in this one. And I'm going to go with the under 8 in Miami and the Mets. I just think it's a pitcher's duel. Taijuan Walker, hard-throwing righty. And Braxton Garrett's got some solid stuff as well. I think he's going to keep the improvement going here. So give me the under 8 in that one.
Big Al.
Well, for me, this is probably my favorite situation of the games we're talking about here, that didn't make the Pick Dogs premium. I like the under in the Cueto-Verlander matchup. See the line at either 8 or 8 under minus 15 cents, but I like it under the 8. Cueto 15 and 4 under last 19, Verlander 9 and 3 under last 12. I think this sets up as a classic pitcher's duel. I gotta take Dakota Hudson as an underdog here. You get him at plus 106. Crawford's stats just don't warrant him being favored against the Cardinals in this situation, in my opinion. 5.74 ERA, 1.79 WHIP. The Red Sox 1-7 or 1-8 their last 8 or 9 games in interleague games versus winning teams at home. So I think the wrong team's favored. I don't understand why Boston's favored in this situation.
Romanelli, Johnny Cueto on the mound here.
Yeah, I don't think Johnny Cueto will even be on the ballot at all. But in that Red Sox Cardinals game, I think the Cardinals are favorites for a reason. I don't like Dakota Hudson's game. I think he has a ton of regression to worry about going forward. 3.29 ERA. I think he's headed for the 4s. When you look, he's only got 36 strikeouts in 65 and 2/3 innings. He gives up a good amount of base hits, and he's starting to get rocked. We saw last time out against the Reds, 7 innings, 9 hits, 6 earned runs. The Red Sox lineup's done a lot better now since the beginning of the season. They're top 15 in team OPS and isolated power against right-handed pitching, while the Cardinals have struggled against righties all season long. They've crushed lefties, but against the righties, they're outside the top 15 in team OPS and isolated power. Cutter Crawford, the biggest issue he has in his game is the walks, so he's going to have to watch that today. But good strikeout stuff. He was excellent in his first start against the Mariners. 5 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs, 7 Ks in that one. But as long as he limits the free passes, I think he has a good outing here, and I like the Red Sox on the money line at home.
Ron, more surprising. Is there anything more surprising than Brian Bittler not owning a Josiah Gray jersey? I mean, this is his guy. But he only bets him in the night games. Brian,
do you know that he doesn't own a jersey?
That's not true.
He only takes him in the night games.
Oh, I've taken him in night games, day games, and if it's my turn, I'm going to take Josiah Gray today against the Phillies, but on plus 1.5.
Shocker.
I think I'm an Aaron Nola guy also, but I just think I've seen the Phillies pitch. I mean, I've seen the Phillies play, and I've seen Aaron Nola pitch his entire career. He always tosses in a clunker amongst 2 good starters. So the Phillies, they're playing well above where they should be at. Really hot lately, but I just think today will be the Nationals day. I'll take them plus 1.5. I'll take the Miami Marlins plus 1.5 here with I'm not a big Garrett guy, but I think Marlins can keep this one competitive. And then probably my play I like almost as much as the Washington Nationals. I'm going to take the Chicago White Sox plus 1.5. Johnny Cueto, I think you're going to see his best start of the year. As Mitch says, possible Hall of Famer here. I don't know about that, but I think there'll be everybody and their mama taking Justin Verlander and the Houston Astros on the run line. I'm just going to be on the other side of that one. Take the White Sox.
Al Ninos, I need a little help. Which white should we get? Which white should we get? I mean, does anybody see any difference between these at all? I mean, he left.
He hated that decision so much. He left.
Sorry.
It's like, is there any difference between these things?
I got you on a tiny screen. I can hardly see them.
Yeah, trust me. There's
the answer is yes, there is.
There is a difference? All right. Which one are we going with then?
Edgecomb gray. I don't know what
There's pearly white, alabaster, highly reflective white.
What's your front one?
This one, highly reflective white.
Yeah, that's the one I like.
It's highly reflective. But what about white snow? You like this one than this one?
he starts pulling out the optometrist thing. 1 or 2.
Well,
1 or 2.
Well,
now shuffle them back up and see if you fix that
this
one
is
again.
this is why I hate paint stores. It's like, oh, this one's great. It's like They look exactly the same.
I'm married to an interior designer, so my wife would beg to differ.
Oh, I know. Believe me, I know. I mean, Alan knows what you think of these games.
I might give you a better opinion on that, hopefully.
You got pearly white, too. Pearly white, natural white.
Yeah, very nice. No, but I gotta agree with the under in the Astros White Sox game, and if I were to take a side, I'd probably go Astros money line and -2.5, rather than risk the -1.5. The other game, sorry, highly distracted here. Oh yeah, and I agree that I don't think that Crawford should be favored here either. So. Red Sox been really playing real well, but I got to take a shot with Dakota Hudson. I think he's having a pretty good season, so I'll take the Cardinals.
Jovan.
Yeah, it's tough because the Phillies have ran roughshod over the Nationals, but I'm on Josiah Gray and the Washington Nationals in this one. Aaron Nola, he hasn't pitched well against Washington. He's gotten rocked his last 3 starts, I believe. And I think he's going to give up some runs again in this one. And, Josiah Gray, a daytime 4-0, 0.84 ERA. Yeah, I'll take a shot at them at, $1.75 plus money.
I'm going to parlay the Marlins and the Nationals here, straight up money line. That's what I like in this segment. Move to the next segment, and got to be winding down. Yeah, the last 4 games. We got the Dodgers and the Guardians. Urias, -240. I don't see it. Oh, this is going to be a gem. Herman Marquez against Nick Martinez at Coors Field. This should be just a really long day at the office. Then you've got Seattle against the Angels, and Flex and Sandoval. I thought we went over this one already. They put the same matchup on both games. And then we've got the Diamondbacks against the Twins. Let me see if I can find out the other matchup here.
I see Jose Suarez for the Angels, and I see TBD for the Mariners.
I see Justice Sheffield.
I'm down with TBD on that one. I think Brian's gonna have some issues here. You got Bundy and Weaver on the same ball field.
That's an easy choice.
Jovan, what do you got here? These 4.
Not really feeling Cal Quantrill. I'm not really buying what he's selling as far as his pitching performances. His last 3 starts have been against Texas, Oakland, and the Royals. I know the Guardians are hot, but I'm a roll with the Dodgers first 5. Cut out some of the nonsense with bullpen action. It's a hot team versus a cold team, I know, but I'll take the Dodgers in that one. And my guy Dylan Bundy's on the mound. So I expect a lot of runs in this one, going up against Luke Weaver. So I'm going to take the over in that one. Somehow, some way it gets past his 9.5.
El Ninos.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably take a little shot on the Guardians. As painful as that is to say.
Whoa.
I mean, it's just I just think the Dodgers are overpriced. I don't know. They might win the game, but I think the value is on the Guardians. And yeah, that's about it. Not too much else for me here.
Brian?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to go back to the well, take the Cleveland Guardians +1.5. I think Cal Quantrill can keep the Guardians in the game. They're just a scrappy bunch of guys, and I do think in the end the Dodgers are going to take the game, but I think it'll be super low scoring. Also, like the under 8. Wouldn't be surprised if it was a 3-2 final score. And then the other game, Padres and Rockies. I just think I'll take the over 11.5 here. I think you could get to that over by the 5th or 6th inning here with Marquez and Martinez on the mound. So for me, over 11.5. under in the Dodgers Guardians and the Guardians +1.5.
Romanelli, Bundy and Weaver.
Yeah, me and Al Ninos are poker guys. We like to play poker, and I was texting Al this week. We were talking some poker, and I asked him, "All right, would you say you're a better handicapper or poker player?" And he said, "I'd probably say handicapper." I said, "Man, you must be terrible at poker then." But in that Twins Diamondbacks game, I like the over. Dylan Bundy is probably the worst pitcher in baseball right now. I think he has just lost his way. I'm not sure what happened on the mound, but his last 3 outings, 4 earned runs at least, 2 home runs in each of his last 2 games, not striking out anybody. I got to take the over against the Diamondbacks team that has a lot of power in that lineup against right-handed pitching, and we know the Twins bats can do some damage on Weaver, so I like that over in that game.
Big Al.
Yeah, I'm just laughing at Ron's comedy there. Yeah, it's ugly. I mean, Dylan Bundy, they've lost his last 7 starts. You're 37-29 on the season, and you've lost this guy's last 7 starts. So that tells you what Dylan Bundy is. Weaver making his first start, going back to last year. His team's lost his last 4 starts. It's kind of like the lesser of 2 evils. I'm going to take Minnesota 18-11 off a loss. I just think finally they're just going to get in the win column for Bundy after that 7-game losing streak. So I'll take Minnesota, and I've got Pick Dogs premium plays on some of the other games, and then I don't like some of the other games. So,
Chris.
Yeah, give me the Guardians on the money line. I'm fully in sell mode on Julio Urias. The Dodgers have lost his last 4 starts, 6 of his last 7 starts as a team, and you just can't catch a break. And Cal Quantrill, I know the level of competition can be called into question, but he's pitching fairly well himself as of late, and I think that we had a bigger pitching discrepancy on Friday, and the Guardians found a way to get the win there. I don't see why they couldn't here. So, give me the Guardians there. I'm gonna go with a lot of total stuff in this Padres game. I'm gonna go with the Yurfee. I'm gonna go with the over 3.5 runs in the first inning. Normally you see that around plus 1,200 up to plus 1,500. It's plus 825 for over 3.5 runs in the first inning. So they don't want you to be on that, but I'm still gonna take it. I think this is over from the word go. I'm gonna play an alternate total all the way up to like 17.5 at plus 520. This is gonna be ridiculous. And I'm going to go with the Diamondbacks team total over. Like you guys mentioned, Dylan Bundy, just a dumpster fire on the road. And I think this game is going to be no different. I think his ERA actually could go up after today's game on the road. So give me the Diamondbacks team total over.
Yeah, I don't know. Luke Weaver, for me, I don't know. I'd rather have Paul Goldschmidt any day of the week in one of the worst trades you'll ever see. And got to go with the Guardians again here against the Dodgers. I just think this is the Pirates series all over again. I mean, like I said before, it's like just a better version of it. And I like that. The Twins Diamondbacks is just lousy. It's a terrible game. And just going to continue to fade the Angels on the road. Parlay time. Chris?
All right, I'm going to go parlay here for plus 1930. Marlins money line, Guardians money line, and Nationals money line.
Big Al, parlaying, prop, anything?
I like the under in the Cueto-Verlander matchup. I'll just stick with that.
Any WWF wrestling picks? Anything? WWE, right? WWE.
Well, I went off the board to give you a USFL last week in a parlay. So if I had to parlay it, I would do the USFL, and I would go against the New Jersey Generals, and I would take the what do you call it? The Philadelphia Stars plus that's up to 3 now. It was 2.5 last night. I now see 3 at 5 times in bet 365. So. Yeah, it goes off at 12 noon. It's an early game, so if I had to parlay anything, I'd take the 3 with Philly in the USFL.
Ron.
I'm going to take a 3-team parlay. 2 totals now. In the over in the Twins Diamondbacks, the under in the Braves Cubs, and then I'm going to take the Red Sox on the money line.
Right.
I'm going to take the Toronto Blue Jays on the money line, parlayed up with the Washington Nationals plus 1.5, and the Chicago White Sox plus 1.5.
El Ninos.
Go Yankees, Blue Jays, first 5 under. Astros, White Sox, first 5 under. And you could throw the Astros in there too if you want.
-1? Or just straight up?
You could, sure. Why not?
Just checking. Jovan?
Yeah, for the parlay, I wouldn't do the -2.5. I'd do either -1 or money line, but yeah. -1. We'll do -1 for the parlay. Actually, no.
Yeah, so I got a 4-teamer going. Washington Nationals, Braves, Cubs under, Twins, Diamondbacks over, St. Louis Cardinals, Red Sox over.
Guardians, Nationals, Marlins for me. Thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate each and every one of you. We did it in an hour. 7 people. Pretty amazing stuff, including the shenanigans. Have a great day. Make it a winner. We appreciate each and every one of you.